Emma had always led a life of quiet predictability. Born and raised in a small town, she grew up surrounded by the gentle hum of cicadas, the scent of freshly cut grass, and the rhythm of a world that never moved too fast. She had loved once before, a deep, consuming love she thought would last forever. But life, as it often does, had other plans. Her heart had been broken, and she'd sworn never to give it away so easily again. When Emma moved to the city, it was supposed to be a fresh start. She swapped her rural roots for the towering skyscrapers, the constant hum of traffic, and the anonymity of a place where no one knew her name. She worked as an editor at a small publishing house, her days filled with manuscripts and her evenings spent with a book in hand, her cat curled at her feet. She told herself she was content. Love, after all, had only brought her pain. She didn't need it, she decided. It was safer to pour herself into work, to lose herself in the pages of other people's stories. But fate had a way of sneaking up on her. One rainy afternoon, Emma found herself wandering into a quaint, tucked-away bookstore, a place she had stumbled upon during one of her aimless walks. The rain was relentless, and she sought refuge among the aisles of dusty tomes and the comforting scent of aged paper. She was engrossed in a particularly intriguing novel when she heard a voice behind her. "Are you always this serious when you read, or is it just this book?" She turned to find a man about her age, his hair damp from the rain, a mischievous grin playing on his lips. He was holding a book, a collection of Neruda's poetry, and looking at her with an expression of curiosity. "I'm always serious about books," Emma replied, a hint of a smile tugging at the corners of her lips. "Then you're exactly the person I need," he said. "I'm Lucas, and I have no idea what I'm doing in this section. Care to help?" Emma wasn't sure why she agreed, but something about Lucas's easy charm and the sparkle in his eyes made her want to stay. They spent the next hour discussing poetry and life, their conversation flowing as naturally as a river. By the time they left the store, Lucas had convinced her to exchange numbers. "I promise I won't spam you," he said with a grin. "Unless it's with bad poetry." Emma didn't expect him to call, but he did. Their first official meeting was over coffee, and it quickly became apparent that Lucas was unlike anyone Emma had ever known. He was spontaneous where she was cautious, loud where she was quiet, and unafraid to dive into the depths of life's uncertainties. At first, Emma resisted. She had built walls around her heart, and she wasn't ready to let anyone in. But Lucas was persistent. He didn't push her, but he stayed, showing up with flowers when she least expected it, sending her random texts that made her laugh, and sharing parts of himself she hadn't asked for but found herself treasuring. One evening, as they walked along the city's waterfront, Lucas turned to her. "Emma, you're holding back," he said softly. "I get it. I do. But if you don't let yourself feel, you'll miss out on everything that could be." His words struck a chord deep within her. For so long, she had been afraid of getting hurt again, of opening herself up to the possibility of pain. But Lucas was right. She couldn't keep living half a life, too afraid to embrace the beauty of what could be. Slowly, Emma began to let her guard down. She told Lucas about her past, about the love she had lost and the pain that had lingered. Lucas listened without judgment, his hand steady in hers. He shared his own stories, his own heartbreaks, and the lessons they had taught him. Their relationship wasn't perfect. They had their disagreements, their moments of doubt. But through it all, they found their way back to each other. Lucas was a dreamer, and he pushed Emma to dream too. He took her on spontaneous adventures, midnight drives to watch the stars, impromptu trips to the countryside, and quiet moments in hidden corners of the city. He made her laugh in ways she hadn't in years, and he made her feel seen in a way she never thought possible. One evening, as they lay on a blanket under a canopy of stars, Lucas turned to her and said, "I didn't expect you, Emma. But now that you're here, I can't imagine my life without you." Emma felt tears prick her eyes. She had spent so long running from love, but now, she realized she didn't want to run anymore. Lucas had shown her that love wasn't about being perfect or never getting hurt. It was about choosing someone every day and allowing yourself to be chosen in return. Years later, Emma would look back on that moment as the turning point of her life. She and Lucas built a life together, a life filled with love, laughter, and the kind of joy that only comes from taking a chance. And in Lucas, Emma found the love she hadn't expected but had always hoped for.